about to be necessary. Share this live out. Bam, bam. Thank everybody for being here. Ain't nobody here yet. Let me see. Yeah, well, as the people are coming in, I've seen this. I've seen a lot of different takes on it. I am probably not going to be on here that long because if you guys don't know me, I'm mostly on YouTube, and I have 2 YouTube live streams on my different channels about this. So that's the Afro Elite channel, and then For the Culture. So I have it on that and on For the Culture. So I'm going to be talking about it there. But I want to talk about it here on TikTok because it allows me to have a discourse. Now, the reason why I want to talk about it on YouTube versus TikTok is because YouTube, you get to like play clips and you get to, you know, really do a deeper dive than you can on TikTok. So that's the pro of YouTube, that TikTok doesn't allow you to like show and analyze different videos and different pieces of evidence and stuff. That's what YouTube allows you to do. TikTok, though, is way easier to interact with. So you get to have a panel of different people who have different opinions. But this situation, and I've seen a lot of people talking about it, it's all over Twitter, all over my Twitter, all over my TikTok timeline or newsfeed, whatever you say. And I've looked through every single angle. I've looked through every single scenario. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of different opinions. There's a lot of different. What we have now is we have a lot of people, and this is something that we're going to have to be very aware of. We have a lot of people who are just randomly coming up and saying that they knew either of the boys. Okay. So you have people who are randomly coming up and say, oh yeah, I went to school with Karmelo. I went to school with Austin. And they don't substantiate any of those claims. So we have to understand that there are going to be some of his classmates, some of Austin's classmates, some of Karmelo's classmates who probably will want to say something on their behalf, or there are probably going to be witnesses who might want to say something on their behalf. So it is possible that you have a few of them coming up, but there's a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people come online. They don't substantiate any of the evidence, and they say they knew either of the boys, and they say that because they go on to say, and it's mostly people who say they knew Austin, okay? And they say that, and they go on to push a narrative that their side wants to believe in, all right? Now, I'm going to say this, and a lot of people are going to be, are you guys, okay, let me see. Okay, the request. Now, before I continue, before we go, before I let BX tell everybody what the rules are, because we definitely got to follow the rules on here, I'm going to say this. Everybody got to mute up when you come on. Okay, you got to go, because I can already tell you're going to be a problem. Yeah, I can already tell that. The situation, we don't know if the motives behind as of yet, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know. There's a lot of stuff where people are like, they knew each other beforehand. Yeah, because you were making noise. I don't like trolls. If you're going to come up, be quiet, and then I'm going to let you speak. There's a lot of people who are saying that these 2 boys knew each other beforehand, and there was a previous fight before at a party, and they had beef before. Then there are other people saying that they didn't know each other at all. There are other people saying that this person was bullying this person. Okay, if it was your child, I'm gonna let you come back up, but you got to mute as you come up. Okay. It's a lot of people saying a lot of things that have not been proven, that has not been substantiated. But what we do know, and I'm gonna just say this before we continue, because I'm going to let people speak. But what we do know for a fact is that, who is on there off their mic? Everybody got to be on their mic. What we know for a fact was that this was a track meet, okay? Karmelo was under the tent of another team, all right? Austin and his twin brother Hunter confronted him, and then Austin himself, he physically put his hands on Karmelo. He put his hands on Karmelo. Karmelo told him, "Get off me." And then he did it again, tried to physically move him out of the tent, from the tent. And then that's what happened. He got stabbed. Karmelo had stabbed him. And then that's what we know. That is what we know. Okay. Everything else, a lot of people are saying other things that may have been the truth, may not have been the truth, but this is what we know. And based off of what we know for an absolute fact, this is a case of self-defense. This is an absolute case of self-defense based off of what we know for a fact. Now, as I let the panel go on, BX, can you explain the rules real quick? And then we'll continue.
Sure. So when you come on the panel, immediately mute until directed to speak by the host. Please use TikTok friendly language. Please talk as if you're talking to a 5-year-old. I know it sounds kind of elementary, but we have to protect the life if we want to continue to have these types of discussions. Also in the chat, please no trolling. You are, of course, allowed to give your insight, but be
Mm-hmm.
keep it cute. I will bounce y'all, especially y'all with followers who are 50 or less and no profile picture. Okay, so when you hear somebody use unfriendly TikTok language, just kindly drop fruit in the comments, uh, hashtag safe space, and I love the TikTok shot. Okay, so that's it for now, unless I could think of something else. Oh, I'll try not to interrupt y'all. I'll try not to come off my
Mm-hmm.
mic, and I actually I'll do the same. Now, if I hear misinformation or flat out disrespect, I will come off my mic. So
Yes.
let's have a great discussion, guys.
Yes. Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you, Afro.
So thank you. Thank you. Um, we'll get to, I guess we'll just go down the line like that, right? I guess we'll just go down the line. So rebirth, you get to go ahead. What's your stance on this situation?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My stance is I believe it is a clear case of self defense, but it's more noticeable how their community is putting so much effort publicly into creating a narrative in an image campaign while simultaneously trying to smear the campaign of this. Remember, a child. These are children. And it's sort of kind of sickening to see the way that the younger generation are watching us adults behave in this situation is very disgraceful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, these are kids. This is a tragic situation. This is an unfortunate situation. But what happened is cut and dry. Sometimes situations like this happen. It's not something that we want to happen. It's something that as a society we should avoid happening. But let's be honest. This situation is a situation of self-defense. Austin shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. Point blank, period. There is absolutely no justification for Austin doing that. All right. And all of these people online, they're trying to make Karmelo out to be some type of a thug with the picture of the airsoft gun or whatever the case is, or the picture of him lifting his middle finger up, and they're taking pictures out of context to create this negative image and narrative of this student who's this A+ student who's also in sports, who's also don't have no type of record or anything like that, to villainize him, to make it seem like this dude was some type of criminal or troublemaker. And they're not doing that with Austin. So they are, instead of looking at this from a black or white issue, they're putting extra, or they're attempting to put extra dirt on Karmelo's name to make it seem like this is a black man just attacking an innocent white man for no reason. YT man. But yeah, let's get to the next speaker. Heaven's Angels. I guess I gotta make it bigger because more people want to come up, right? I be forgetting how to do that sometimes. Heaven's Angels, you got it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't condone violence of any kind, no matter what, self defense or not. I have a daughter, and it's a tragedy, and I can only imagine what the father is going through right now. It's a tragedy either way, and it's sad on both sides.
Can I ask you? You said self-defense or not? You don't think that a
No,
person has the right to defend themselves?
nobody has a right to take away anybody's life. Period. I mean, he is 17. He knows right from wrong. That's like me. If somebody put my hands on me, I got to think, are they really worth going to jail for? No. They're not worth me losing my job. They're not worth me, you know what I mean? I can walk
Okay.
away from that because they're
That's
not
because
worth me losing everything
Okay.
that
And
I have. You
as
know what I'm
true as
saying?
yeah,
You don't go
as
to
true as that is, well, there are legitimate circumstances where you do have to defend yourself, and to the degree of unaliving the other person.
I mean, you
There
could
are
defend yourself without taking somebody's life, though.
sometimes you can't. And that's unfortunate. Sometimes you can't do that. And I don't think, I'm gonna be very honest, I don't think Carmelo was trying to do that. I don't
I mean,
think he
I
came
wasn't
to the
there, so I'm
event with
not
any
sure, you know.
malicious intent. I don't think he came there with the intent on doing that whatsoever.
I mean, I can't say that I wasn't there on. I can't say what the intent of either one of them were. But
Well,
to put
okay.
everything aside, a man lost his son. A mother and a father lost their son by him doing that and him being in jail right now. They both lost something, both families.
Yeah, and yes, and it's unfortunate. However, that doesn't change the fact that it is self-defense. That's the truth. It is self-defense though.
I mean, I wasn't there. I can't say whether it was or whether it wasn't. I
Okay.
don't go off of what everything the news and whatnot says.
So okay, well thank you. So you don't have a stance on the issue then.
It's a tragedy, and I don't understand why everybody is condoning violence of any kind
Okay,
whatsoever.
there's a difference between violence and
But he
self-defense.
chose to do that, so he has to pay for what he chose to do.
Austin chose to put his hands on Carmelo.
But
Austin
he
chose.
also, the other guy also chose to take his life. If
No,
you do a
no, the
crime,
other dude
you
chose.
need
The
to, you have
Carmelo, ma'am,
consequences for
Carmelo
your
chose to
crime.
defend himself after Austin
It wasn't
assaulted him, and
self-defense.
she
this is
lost.
something.
She
This is
lost.
something that even his twin, admitted that Austin was the one who physically escalated the situation.
Facts.
So let's get to the next speaker. Hold on, because there's a lot more people. Don, well, you were up kind of first. So Scott, you go ahead, Scott.
How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm standing with it was self-defense, but you cannot use lethal force against unlethal force. And we have to find out, was the knife actually in the backpack? Because that's going to be a problem.
Look at the law. Yes, you can, bro.
Okay, hold on. Let's not interject. So the knife. Okay, according to the police report, the knife was. According
So
to
now we
all of
have a
the evidence, the
situation. Did
knife
he
was
have
in
to
the
go in
backpack.
his backpack?
But what would it? Let's be honest. What would it matter if the knife was in his backpack or not? What does that mean?
Because that's going to show. That's what they're going to look down. They're going to break that down. They're going to look. You had a chance to go for the knife. You had a chance to walk away. What? And we're going to have to figure out what
Technically,
up to
though,
that
let's
point
be
what was
honest.
going on.
He doesn't have to walk away. Austin in stand your ground state. Austin didn't have to walk away because Austin wasn't in his property. Austin wasn't that. The tent is not the property of Austin. It wasn't his property, and it wasn't his right to remove him.
That is
That's
true.
the truth. It's not
Yes,
his right to
but
remove
I
him.
know
That's true,
with
but I
Texas,
do. Okay, go ahead, Scott.
you can't use lethal force against unlethal force.
Yes, you can. That's
Correct.
exactly
No,
that's
in a
the
stand your
law.
ground state, you cannot use lethal force.
'Yes, you can. It say
One
you
at
can
a
do
time.
whatever you
One
want.
I know that
minute.
Hold on.
No
Let me
back
put
and
in
forth. One
perspective.
at a time. Let him
Let me
land,
put in
and then
perspective.
Afro will say who is to respond next. Thank you.
You cannot come up. I cannot get slapped in the face and take your life for that in a stand your ground state.
Yeah, but here's the issue. You're missing out a very, very important piece of context in the situation. Very important piece of context in the situation. Austin did not do this, or Carmelo didn't do this in a response to Austin. Austin was currently grabbing him. It's not like he hit him and then Austin got up and grabbed his bag. Austin put his hands on him. He was warned not to, which is when he got the knife. He was warned not to put his hands on him again. And then Austin further and more aggressively put his hands on Karmelo. So in the midst of that, that's when Karmelo stabbed him. That's what happened. Okay.
But yeah, we really don't know the whole thing there, because if I have a knife,
being grabbed, it's not as if Austin was not much bigger and right up on Karmelo.
Hey, look up, look.
But let me ask you, did he have the option to even run away at that point in time? When he's right there, he's physically grabbing you. His twin brother is right around like a few feet away, and whoever the case is, and nobody's there to defend you or help you.
Look up penal code 9.32.
I'll look that up.
Look it up.
The
Right
thing
now.
is, if you're going for the weapon, then you'd have to display it, unless you're being held down, and hopefully there's some video footage that will help them if it's coming down there. But
I'm making no sense, Scotty boy.
What do you mean you have to display it? What do you mean?
you should show in my personal opinion, I should at least warn you ahead of time.
Somebody attacking you, you should show
No. He did. He warned him to tell him not to put his hands on him again. He does not have to announce he has a weapon on him. You don't have to do that. He warned him by telling him not to put his hands on him again. And then Austin more aggressively started assaulting him, continued to assault him.
I can live with that then. If you don't need to display that and all stuff like that, that's understandable. If you're saying you're under duress, let's hope that it happened that way. Because, it's unfortunate. I'm just trying to get to the exact detail because we really don't know. There's no video footage. I'm hoping there's something there, and I'd like to see the truth come out. I don't care about either side. I just want the real truth to come out.
Okay. All right. And let's get to the next speaker. I want everybody to get a chance to speak. So 198, or one.
I thought you said Don Judah was next. Oh, okay.
You said what?
I thought you said I was next. My bad.
Oh, did I say that? Okay, I guess you go next then.
Okay. Well,
So I'm gonna start circling certain people out, so I can allow more people to speak because a lot of people want to speak.
yeah.
So,
as soon as I
go
finish, you
ahead,
can
go
drop
ahead.
me out.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the law states. See, people get this deadly force law mixed up. They think you have to threaten death. The law is great if the threat of death or great bodily harm. They leave out the great bodily harm thing and only count the death. Meaning, if someone is trying to unalive you, that's the only way you can defend yourself. No, it's great bodily harm as well. And with the knife thing, 5.5 inches or smaller is allowed in a school. It is. That's Texas law. So if his knife was less than 5.5 inches, which they said it was allowed in the school. So he didn't have an illegal weapon in school.
Yeah.
So that's cleared up.
Everybody, as you're coming up, everybody got to mute. Okay.
Yeah, so that part is cleared up. So as far as the facts of what happened, I don't know. So I'm only here to clear up that part because they had a live yesterday. Everybody was confused about the knife. He had a knife, but 5.5 inches or smaller is allowed not only in Texas, in the schools of Texas. So I just wanted to clear that up. Even though they said for certain reasons, he was an athlete. So they say he ran track, and sometimes you have to use a small knife, to take the dirt out of the cleats. So that's why he had a knife, and he was allowed to have a knife because of that reason. So you can't just bring the knife into a school. It has to be for a reason, and it says that in the law. But it's not illegal to have a knife. It's illegal to have a 6-inch knife, regardless of what it is. So that's the law with the knife.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clear that part up. In deadly forces, the threat, that word threat of death or great bodily harm. So as far as everything it sounds like he was legit on self-defense. That's all I want to say.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna let. There's a lot I want to say, but I'm gonna say it on YouTube on my live streams tomorrow because I'm on YouTube. But I want to get the community's opinion on this. So let's move on to the next speaker. Thank you, Don. Let's move on to
I'm gonna drop
1985 Eastern Standard.
Hey, host, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, baby. I'm blessed. I just wanted to say that I honestly do believe that Carmelo was defending himself. I just have to say that YT people are so funny because they have such selective outrage when it comes to things like this. This takes me back to Kendrick Johnson when those two YT boys did what they did and they're walking free. Let's talk about the white T lady who just unalived the black man, even though he was, talking down on black women and got away with it. And then another YT girl did the same thing. And then the brother also, one of them also brought a knife to the school as well. So it's almost like I'm gonna get you before you get me, which is what Carmelo, to me, I felt like that's what he was doing. There was multiple reports that the YT boys was bullying and harassing that young man, and he felt like he had no choice. See, in the streets, whatever a person decides to do to you, you can't dictate what's on that other person's mind on how they decide to combat you. And then for the lady that came up and said, oh, well, I don't believe in violence. So if somebody breaks into your home and threatens to do something to your family, you mean to tell me you're just going to sit there and take it? Everybody has a moment when they feel like they have to defend themselves. How I decide to defend myself is how I decide to defend myself. When you people go and decide to do things such as this, and that boy was bullied, and several people said that those two bullies, the twins, was repeatedly messing with Carmelo. What else sometimes is a person supposed to do? If y'all were so freaking concerned, and I also feel like if it was a YT boy who did this to another YT boy, you wouldn't see all of these white folks up in here with all of this outrage. It's the fact that this is a black young boy who defended himself. He probably did report it. We don't know. But for what I know, a lot of our kids, some of our kids, don't just go and do things like this. It was definitely something that was done that made him feel like he had to get to it, had to get to this level. So while y'all are sitting up here, and then I love it when they say, oh, you guys like to think it's a race thing. Well, go back and talk to your founding fathers about that, because your founding fathers is the ones who implemented all of the racism. So what you need to do is start at the root of the problem. And then by the comments that you said, like you said, Elite earlier, it's a lot of people seeing how us adults are acting. Well, this gives us a chance to see what these YT people are talking about at their dinner tables, because now their sons are doing the same thing. They told that boy to get off. Oh, you sitting on my side, like they tried to Rosa Parks him because somewhere he was sitting. But see, y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all see a young, and then you instantly want to call him a thug. Well, what was y'all thuggish children, this thuggish white boy, doing when he decided to go and bully this black boy? What was he supposed to do? Sit there and take it? We're done with that. We're not taking nothing else. That is y'all's problem. Y'all never go on these tangents when it's something y'all shot up that church up there. I'm sorry. Y'all pew them black people up in that church. Y'all didn't say anything about that. The other person, they took him to Burger King and got him something to eat when they did that. So again, I call it selective outrage. Good, be mad. We already know that the Lord is going to be on Carmelo's side. Y'all doing everything that y'all can. Y'all blocked this GoFundMe. Y'all did all of that other stuff. But guess what? Justice will prevail. If you don't want your child getting hands put on them, talk to your children, because if somebody put their hands on me, and I've taught my children, somebody put their hands on them, as long as they follow protocol, you report it, you tell somebody. After that, you in that F around and find out stage. It's no way that you people are going to sit up here and say, oh, well, I'm not for violence, but let somebody run up on on somebody you love and that you care about and see how much it is that you're gonna take. So while y'all sitting up here spewing all of this rhetoric, trying to prove a point, the YT boy that is now taking a dirt nap, he's just as guilty as this young man trying to defend himself. So sit down and talk to your children. Stop trying to police us and Rosa Parks somebody or whatever it is that you people like to do, because now we are our ancestors, but we are our ancestors in a whole nother way. We will fight you back. We will put our hands on you. So talk to your children. Everybody is not fixing to sit around here and deal with that. And guess what? It takes a thug to know a thug. So talk to your thug ass children and tell them to stop doing what they doing. And I'm gonna land my plane, Mr. Elite. Thank you for letting me speak, and thank you for
Thank you,
the.
sister. I want to say this. I want to say this because it's been bothering me. We are our ancestors. We are their wildest dreams, and we do have ancestors that have always fought. They have always believed in self-defense, and I want to remind y'all, for those who don't know, y'all can research Deacons of Defense. Okay, they were pew carrying, toting, and they went head up against the Triple K to where the government had to get involved and intervene and kind of put some, I guess we could say, sanctions against the Triple K. So they don't get talked about enough. So we have always fought back, and those who may have been leery were protected by who? The ones that fought back because they was fighting for them all and us all too. And I just want to say that because I hate that we not our ancestors. And 1985 didn't say that, but I've been seeing that since this case came up in record numbers, and I want y'all to stop and I want y'all to research though the opposite side of nonviolent civil rights because we had the ones that really went upside their heads too. I'll land.
I'm gonna say this before we get to the next speaker. I'm gonna say this: the lady who came up and was talking about she doesn't believe in violence, and violence in no circumstance is never acceptable. It's always wrong. Notice how she said that about Karmelo, but she's not saying that about Austin. The whole I never agree with violence. Yeah, but you're only going to say you never agree with violence when the black kid is defending himself. When black people respond to the violence of YT people, then we should never agree with violence. Then violence is never acceptable and you can always walk away. All right. Even though Austin, by all accounts, started the fight. Because, I mean, once you actually physically touch somebody, the person tells you not to, and you continue to physically touch somebody, it is a fight at that point in time. So people like, well, they weren't fighting. Technically, they were. That is what, legally, that would be considered a fight. You are defending yourself from someone who is currently attacking you. That is a fight.
You're justifying murder, by the way.
Austin started that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You right about that. Like, I'm glad you listen with a third ears, because that's how you always notice what they talking about. Like, they're trying to be slick with it. When you listen to the third ear, they always prove themselves like, man, like trying to play a victim. It doesn't work like that anymore. And I'm gonna tell you, it is self-defense. And the two things we gotta learn about this, white people, teach your kids, stop being Karen, mind their business. Mind their business. And black people, I'm glad, start getting your concealed to carry and protect your family, because guess what? They're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing.
Hold on.
Know the law, like myself. I carry all the time. Let a Karen get out of line. Guess what? They touch me. That's it. That's it. And either that, because I'm ready to go, I'm not going to go. I'd rather go see the judge instead of be 6 feet deep. That's how I'm coming.
Okay,
That's how
so
I'm
you're a
coming.
man, so we say kin. Okay, there's Karen and kin. Because that man, we
Yeah,
don't want to hurt
go
a
ahead.
Karen.
Now I
And
want
Okay,
guess
to,
yeah.
what?
Leah.
And I
Okay.
respect that. I'm glad you correcting people. You are your
Yeah.
ancestors. Because guess what? I'm Haitian. So I will forever be my
Okay.
ancestors. Because my ancestors don't play like that. You understand?
Yes.
Don't,
Yeah,
like,
but hold
go
on.
ahead.
Leah,
Okay.
brother, hold on. Leah was next in the lineup.
Go
And then
ahead. Do your thing, Leo.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say I live in a stand your ground state. I live in Minnesota, right?
okay.
And I'm also a felon, right? But the reason why I'm a felon is because I defended myself with a weapon, right? And a lot of times with women, when we defend ourselves with weapon, and it could be a man, a lot of times we'll claim self-defense, and that's what happens. But in the state of Minnesota, at least for me, I end up still catching a felony anyway, right? I'm not in prison right now, but I still am on probation because stand your ground, technically, the way that the lawyer basically told me, it's a stand your ground state. It's not a self-defense state. So in that case, when it's stand your ground, the other person has to have a weapon or has to be presenting something that is detrimental to your life, right? Otherwise, they are going to, and it's not going to be anything like the unaliving penalty. I don't think that that's going to happen for him, um, because obviously these two guys were aggressive when coming towards him. So I don't think that that's going to happen. However, in stand your ground states they do still charge felonies, even if that person was being aggressive towards you, because you're the one with the weapon, regardless of whether it's right or wrong. So, I'm just
So
speaking,
let
because
me
of what
let me
I've learned through being through the system.
now.
That's how I know.
It might have been your situation. Now you were dealing with a man, right? You're. I don't want to
Yep.
get you. Okay, so you were dealing with a man, and he was assaulting you.
Yep. And he also had previous history of assaulting
And
me, which is why I'm not in prison right now.
what happened? What happened with him?
He threatened to drop my
No,
son on
like
his head
legally
at 11
speaking. Legally
months.
speaking, what happened with him?
What do you mean?
Like, did he go to prison or what? What?
No, he's not in prison. He's not in jail. He actually has my $2 right now. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and so what I'm
Now,
saying
here's
is,
the
the
thing.
justice system does never work for us. So I don't.
Was the
Again,
man okay? Was the man black?
yes.
Okay. Well, we've seen now your situation may be a one-off or whatever the case is, but we've seen situations where if a grown man is assaulting a grown woman and the woman uses a weapon to defend herself, we've seen several situations where the man is actually the one who gets in trouble for that.
But
We've seen
that's
that
not always
like
the
time and
case
time
in
again.
stand your ground. With stand your ground states, that is not the case. And actually
Okay, I will
more
bring up
so than
another
not.
example. I will bring
Now
up another example.
there's self-defense case,
I
there's
will bring up.
self-defense, there's different states.
ma'am. Hold on. I will bring up another example. When George Zimmerman was following Trayvon Martin, the one who had the weapon was George. George Zimmerman had the weapon. Trayvon Martin didn't have a weapon. George Zimmerman instigated a situation with Trayvon Martin. He said because of the fight that they were in, he feared for himself and he used his weapon against Trayvon and he was
And
let
no,
go.
I'm not lying. Whoever's saying I'm lying, you don't know my case, so shut up,
No,
please.
we might not know your case, man, but we know what happens in most of these situations. And
Yes,
in
but
most of these
okay, if you think about
situations,
where,
you can't say, okay, if somebody breaks, you can't say if somebody is hitting you or assaulting you, I can't use a weapon at all unless they have a weapon.
no, I can't say that, but what I'm saying is the law doesn't make that clear, right? And we know from history that the law never works in our favor, right? We know this. This is regular. It's not new, right? There's certain things that are nuanced. George Zimmerman was a YT man or a YT Hispanic man, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was not an African American male. And so they look at us, the system looks at us as automatically aggressive,
Okay,
right?
well,
When they deal with us. I'm
let
not
me.
saying that this is correct. I'm
Okay,
not
so
saying
let me
that the
just get
way
your
that
stance on it. Do you think that morally speaking, that this is a case of self-defense, not even legally? We can argue about
morally, yes. Morally,
okay.
yes.
So you
Morally,
okay,
yes.
but you just feel like legally is not self-defense because Austin didn't have a weapon.
Correct. So
Do you
legally,
let me
they're
ask
not
you? Do you
gonna,
think that
because
it's
in
going to be
stand
a
your ground
factor?
states, they're
Hold
not
on. Let
gonna
me
do
ask you
it.
this: do you think it's going to be a factor that Carmelo was outnumbered in this situation? Do you
It
think that
can
that's going to
be,
play a
it
factor
can,
at all?
yes, for sure. That can
Okay.
definitely be used as a factor. However, again, like, so if it was shown on camera that he presented or brandished the weapon, right, before he was attacked, right, then that could also change the scenario to where he could win self-defense case, right? Because it's more than one person against him. And again, like I said, I was attacked by a man with my child in his hand. So, There's there's a different story for everything. And I'm not saying that the laws will protect him or not, because the system is so effed up, they may not protect him.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He may not get off with this. And I'm not saying again that it wasn't self-defense, because those two guys were super aggressive. I do believe they were bullying him. Yes, and they need to talk, these white tea people, like 1985 said, they need to talk to their kids. Stop letting your kids bully our kids. Stop letting your kids get away with stuff like this. But again, it's a system and it's going to continue working for them.
Well, we're gonna have to change that then. We're gonna have to work to change that. But as we continue, let's get to
Yeah.
Lev. Hold on. Lev, you got it.
Yeah, hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Um,
How
I
you
just
doing?
wanted to get up here and say, because I saw the entire thing like on Twitter, kind of like when it first started happening, and what I noticed is all the white C people, like they're so fixated on um like it's like making it political. The boy's father, the deceased boy's father, came out and said, "This is not a white and black. This is not a political issue. I don't want y'all to make my son this political like mess." And the white tea people on, at least on Twitter, what I see, they're attacking the father because he's saying, don't make this a white and black issue. The fact of the matter is my son is gone. And that's just, and I feel like with stuff like this happens, a lot of times it's like, excuse me, um, the white tea people like to make it seem like black people are just aggressive, are just like our first nature is violence, when historically speaking, white people are the problem. Let's just put it out there. Historically speaking, everywhere you go, when the white tea people come in, there's grape, there's schmurder, there's colonization, there's all this stuff happening at the hands of them. And then they want to get up in here and say that we're the problem. That's just insane. And then as far as Carmelo, I do believe that it was self-defense. However, like Leah said, the system is not for us. The system is not built
Mm-hmm.
for us. The system does not care about us. And I hate to say it, but I don't think that he will be given a fair trial, because like all the facts state he was minding his business and those the twins came over and started bothering him. And and mind you, somebody was saying that there was a fight previously that Carmelo and Austin got
You
into.
gotta mute yourself, Alana.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Austin lost, or Carmelo lost the fight, and didn't, he never thought about it again. He just was like, all right, whatever. He goes to a track meet. He's minding his business. He's under the tent. This boy comes and starts telling him where he can and can't be. Who are you to tell me where I can and can't be? Regardless of any past history, you can't tell me what I can and can't do. I feel like that's white people's problem. Y'all think that y'all run everything, and then when somebody pop you in your mouth or stab you in the heart, now you want to play victim. No, no,
Exactly.
no, no, no. You can't come into people's face. If we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna share these
Alana,
spaces,
come
Mm-hmm.
we're
on.
gonna share these spaces. If we can't be here together and I'm not the problem, you need to go. And that's just like, I feel like for years and years and years and years, white people have been so used to and okay with everybody else being uncomfortable as long as they're comfortable. And I'm sorry to say it, we're not having that no more. Like I know y'all said we are our ancestors. My ancestors were free people. I don't
Mm.
come from, and I come from black people who fought back. So I absolutely am my ancestors, and nothing is gonna change. You will get clocked in your mouth coming at me with that BS. I'm not your slave. I'm not your maid. I'm not your caricature. I'm not anybody but a human being on this planet, just like you. And if you can't respect that, you're the problem. Period.
I agree. Yep. Keep your hands to yourself.
You
Let
live.
Alana. Yeah, you keep going. Come on, Alana. You've been cutting the line now. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but she right. Cause what?
Like, and
You ain't.
it's just sad because, like, I hate like, I'm sad for both families because a boy lost his life and he was a young kid. He didn't have to lose his life. Do I think that stabbing him in the heart was the best uh solution? Absolutely not. I don't think that killing somebody or ending somebody's life is the solution to anything. However, I know that you can't harass somebody and attack somebody and then try to police how they respond. Not everybody's gonna want to talk to you like Oprah
Well,
and Gail. Some people is gonna Malcolm X your ass and hurt you for real.
Okay.
and he's a minor, right?
They're both
Yeah.
minors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both.
Afro
Okay.
Elite,
So
can I
I
say
don't think
something
it.
real quick? I'm sorry, I ain't mean to cut nobody off. Can I say something really quick?
Real
Go
quick, and then
ahead.
we'll get to Truly.
Yeah, I have a cousin who just actually got off. Almost like a similar situation to this. It was actually all over social media. She was in a club, minding her business with some friends. And of course, a guy that she was seeing, he was married. And rumor has it that he told my cousin that he was getting a divorce. And then it came out in the news that the wife had filed for divorce. Well, she was at this bar again, and the girl ends up finding out where my cousin was, and her and her whole crew. It's all on tape. It's actually, you can see the video.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came at her, my cousin was backed in a corner. My cousin came at, I mean, I'm sorry, her friend came at my cousin. They were shooting pool, and where she was, she couldn't move. But when the friend came after my cousin, next thing you know, all of these girls, they was coming out of everywhere. And my cousin ended up unaliving, unfortunately, the wife. She
Mm.
had carried a knife, and she couldn't control where she was would stab someone. She was just trying to defend herself. And you want to know something? Galveston County let her out because when they saw that video, they saw that she was clearly being attacked and defending herself. So yes, you can. You can't even. And she was stabbed. I'm sorry, poked in the chest, and you see her collapse on the ground. So yes, and my cousin took accountability. Yes, I did, and thank God somebody was recording to prove that she
And
had been attacked.
yeah, I was just gonna say too, my situation, I didn't have him on recording with my baby in his arm saying he gonna do the stuff to my baby. We didn't have that part recorded. So when the police arrived to the scene and I told them what happened, well, of course, because I have the weapon, he ain't got no weapon. Who they gonna believe? And
Right.
although he had a history of being violent towards me or whatever, like I said, which is why I'm not in prison right now, they still had to go off of the fact that I had the weapon, he did not. If it wasn't for the fact, if somebody would have been there to record and say something, then I probably would have been able to get off, like you were saying about your cousin. So yeah, and I'm not saying that he can't get off, but I mean, again, you never know because some of these attorneys and judges will be like, well, he wasn't deathly afraid, and so because he was not, his life was not in danger, and he had a weapon, it would probably look bad because he had a weapon.
Well, the thing is that that's hearsay. I mean, that's subjective if his life was in danger or not. Let's be honest, because self-defense in the stand your ground state states that you have to have the rational fear that your life is in danger or serious bodily harm. Okay, that is that is what the person has to perceive the situation as. Okay, so you can't say that he didn't feel that way about him of the situation. But before we continue, let's get to we got some some other speakers. Let's get to Truly at the bottom.
All right, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, first, I just have one question. Like for you, like I just to kind of hear it, right? Do you believe it was self-defense what Carmelo did or no?
Yes.
You do. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you consider it self-defense though, if like you were saying right now, if he was in true fear of his life or being badly injured, correct? What can you tell me? What was it that Austin did that put him in that fear of my life is truly could be in danger, or I am like in danger of being badly hurt, for him to pull a knife out of his backpack and stab him? Or I'm sorry,
Well,
like poke him?
when Austin, hold everybody, when Austin assaulted him by putting
Okay.
his hands on him the first time, and then after the warning, Austin continued to do so. After
Okay.
Austin continued and more aggressively, because let's be, it's not like he just touched him once, he poked him with his finger one time, and then he poked him with his finger the second time. When Austin physically tried to lift this man, he's a much bigger man, a young male, and he tried to physically, and this is what his twin had also conceded to. This is what his twin said. So everyone, like, there's no proof. This is what his twin said happened when he tried to move him physically. You can that gives Karmelo a reasonable fear for his safety.
Okay. So he was fearing for his safety in life by getting picked up and moved. But what I'm saying, okay, I just have one question for you. Would you see it? How would you see it though? If this was also your son, would you be on the same side? Like, yeah, it was self defense. Like, yeah, my son, his life is gone, but like it was self defense. Or are you gonna see it differently too? Because you can't have one like solid point on one side, but then not consider anything else.
The
Well,
father did say something like that. Like
it,
it's not just a black and white issue. He said
Yeah,
it was like
exactly.
it's
I
not
agree with you
and here's
100%.
that
the thing:
it
everybody
has
wants
to
to,
do with self defense. So trying to say,
you wanna
oh,
ask
how
me.
would you feel if your dad
Hold on, left.
is invalid?
The thing is that if it
But
was my
why
dad,
do he feel it's
you're
okay
trying to
for
get me to
Austin
see it. You're
to
trying to
touch
get me to
Carmelo
see it
though?
from a very, hold on.
Wait,
You're trying
wait,
to get
wait,
me.
wait,
Listen,
guys.
Everybody got to
whoever
Let the
stop.
whoever just said
host.
that, I'm not
One
justifying
moment.
touching him either.
Everybody,
I said order. Not up here. We have an order. Please go on mute until the host directs you to speak, so we could all hear. Thank you.
if
Go
if
ahead,
if my
Afro.
son, if my son was a known bully and my son goes around putting his hands on people, and unfortunately he faced the consequences for his actions, my heart would be broken, but I would still rationally understand this is the consequences for my son doing that. It would still be self-defense. Him being my son doesn't change it from not being self-defense. It's not self-defense because I'm related to him or not related to him. That's the situation. You guys want me to, you when you guys say, well, if it was your son, if it was your brother, you want everybody to see things from a very emotional point of view, and dismiss the logical point of view, which is the fact that this is self-defense. And it doesn't, and let's be honest, whether it was my son, my brother, my whoever, it's still self-defense because Austin was in the wrong. That's the situation. Austin was in the wrong. And nobody can say Austin wasn't in the wrong. Nobody says Austin is justified. Y'all conveniently skipping over what Austin did to start the situation, to start the fight in the first place. Y'all just want to go to the response and say, well, that was too much of a response, but not admitting the fact that Austin was guilty for doing that. Now, am I saying that he deserved it? It's an unfortunate situation. However, I don't think Carmelo really meant to end his life. It was just somebody's grabbing you. You have a weapon, you're going to use the weapon.
Can I ask?
There.
Like, okay, yeah, I'm not saying what Austin was fine, but why is Carmelo bringing a knife to attract me in the first place? Like, what is the purpose for that for?
We don't know at this point. We don't know. It could be multiple different things. It could be the fact that he uses it as a utility. It could have, we don't know, it could be a utility knife. It
What
I
do
could
you
be
did
use
the
a
fact
knife
that he
I
for?
thought
did
that
read
he was
somewhere
being
that he
bullied.
used it
We
A
don't
knife
for
know.
is used for
crack.
Because the
stabbing
thing is
things.
that we
Okay,
will not
one
know
at a
until
time.
Austin. We will not know until Austin makes a statement. However, based off of situations like this and this situation, there is, and other reports that that Carmelo was being bullied. There is reasonable speculation out there as to why he bought it, but we don't know.
Afro Elite.
But yes,
So 1985 says if there's a lot of radicals in the chat and she would help mod if you need her to.
Okay.
1985 EST. She also mods for my page too.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So is
Uh-huh.
that?
No
Do
problem.
you have any more questions, or is that it?
I did want to bring something up. You mentioned emotions earlier. What does this have to do? I don't know who mentioned it, but you guys started mentioning like our history or like the history of America and things like that. Like, what is that? Why does that have to tie into this? Because that's
What can
using
you tell
emotion.
me? Right, one moment. Can you tell me what part of history did you hear? Because
Just like
I
about like
spoke on.
discrimination and things like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, this country was founded off of racism. Let's not be, revisionist and change everything. How was America founded? Who built America? Who was enslaved to build America? Who
Mm-hmm.
was on the plantations with those who were enslaved to build America? Who created Jim Crow laws, black holes, redlining, and urban renewal that destroyed our home ownership rates and things like that? Who was unalived by the Triple K? Who was just in church a few years ago and was unalived while praying because the man said he wanted to pray with them,
Right, but we're not
right?
living in the
But
So
'60s
we,
here's the
so
anymore.
thing.
when we
We're
bring
We're in
up
2025
history,
right now.
there's a
here is
historical
why
reason behind
here's why
everything.
race is a factor in the situation. Nobody can make a rational argument as to why Carmelo, whether you say it's he shouldn't have bought a knife, he should have bought a knife, he overreacted, he didn't. That is not first degree. Nobody can make a solid argument as to why he is being charged at all with first degree. And then you have people who are going further beyond to say he deserves capital punishment. And we've seen several similar situations where the races were reversed, and you have the same people when the races are reversed saying that the person acts in self-defense. Anytime a situation like this occurs where the person who is unalived is black and the person who did it is YT, it is always justified. The same people who are saying Carmelo is guilty are always trying to find some type of defense for he don't even have to be YT, the non-black person, whether that's George Zimmerman, whether that's the Asian cop, Peter Liang, whether that's Kyle Rittenhouse, whether that's whoever. There's always, whether that's Daniel Penny, it's always you gotta there's always self-defense, some justifiable excuse for the YT person taking the life of a black person. Now when you have it the other way around, it becomes unjustifiable. So yes, race does play a huge factor in the reaction that everybody is having with this. So we're not gonna act like that's not the case. We're not gonna do that.
Afro Elite, do we know the size, like the height and stuff of the two white the twins, the twins? Do we
From
know
what
the
I
height and
don't know
stuff of them?
I don't they're both over 6 feet tall. I know they're both over 6 feet tall, and they're both somewhere around the 220 weight. They're
And
both around
Carmelo,
they're both around 220. I've heard the lowest is like 200 something, but they're both over 200 pounds and they're both over 6 feet. So they're pretty big dudes, bigger than Carmelo. Even though Carmelo is over 6 feet tall, I've seen him at a lineup. His weight is he is much lighter. He's a much lighter man. Okay.
okay, thank you.
Um, but I guess that answers your question. So let's actually move on. I want to move on to let
Can
me
I get
see.
a
I'm gonna let Black Beyond. I'm gonna let you go, and then
all
we'll get
right?
to Cupcake.
You see, what I realize is with white tea people, right? Especially on Twitter, they have an operation going on. It's propaganda. They trying to push it. Just like in the old days, like the big black man is coming to get you. So that's the same thing they doing. And they always talking about we 13% of the population, we commit all the crime. Guess what? They 9% of the world population and they colonize everywhere. So when
Mm.
we need to start pushing that with them too. Like the same propaganda they pushing, we need to throw the same thing back at them. You understand? Because that's what the propaganda they're pushing is because they want to get more white people to be scared of black people. You understand? Like, oh yeah, look, black people, black men, they criminals, they do this. This kid wasn't a criminal. He was a good kid. You know, like they don't want other people to see us as human beings. And we gotta realize that. This is 2025. We gotta wake up and be like, yo, we're not playing those games no more.
And they love
You
to
know, like
call
you,
us thugs, and they the
Right.
thugs.
yeah.
So
They got the
let me just
underlying
say this.
racism. They got ways. They you know, we came up with the word woke. Now they use woke to make it a racial, like a black thing. You get what I'm saying?
Mm,
So they always move in the goalposts. So we gotta use the same strategy. We gotta do it better than them. And I don't care
right.
if they hit me, they come at me. I'm ready for them. Because that's what they do. They
Right.
smart with that. They 9% of the world population and they're going everywhere and destroying everything. Am I
Right.
lying? That's
But they know
fact.
one. They know one thing. Whatever happens to us, we ain't gonna do nothing about it. You know,
No,
we
it's
just
Okay,
gonna.
I'm gonna
2025.
put a pin in that.
We
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that. So
yeah.
to the chat, hold on. I'm a mod. I'm trying to make sure the chat is in order. Okay,
Clean.
sir. Wendell, thank you. Be mindful what you write in the chat. I am bouncing you left and right. If you get too disrespectful, you are allowed to have a voice, but be mindful of what you say. And I know all the white supremacy talking buzzwords there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when y'all come in, if y'all have it, don't forget to gift the host for his time and use of the platform. Also, when you come up on the panel, please immediately on mute until directed to speak. I know that this is a tense time, so we might, come off our mic. But just know I have my headphones on and I want to hear. And too much talking is going to drive me crazy because it's all voices at once. So it sounds
Yeah.
really wild.
All right.
We want to keep the conversation pushing forward, and also continuously hit the screen, tap the screen to drive us into the algorithm. And I guess I'll land on that. Oh, follow Afro Elite, same name on YouTube, and also a page called For the Culture. Thank
Is
you.
it on your link in your bio, the YouTube
Yeah, it
channel?
is. Yeah, it's in my bio. Yeah.
All right. One more thing I must say, and is the reason why you see them on the Twitter, because I study them.
Hmm.
They're trying to control the narrative. And that's why they go in the news. But guess what? It's not working for them because the little twin brother, he lied like 3 times already.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, and I was gonna bring that up on YouTube. Somebody brought up the fact that their father has kind of switched. The father came out. If you guys notice, and I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna get to Cupcake. If you guys notice, the first interview with the father, he was guns blazing. He was on 10. He was hot. Now all of a sudden he came back with this. Okay, let's forgive. The mom was like that too. Her first interview, she was like, "I'm not." She was on 10. Now the family's starting to switch. They're starting to pivot. Now they're all like, well, let's not politicize this. Let's tone it down. It seems like they're toning things down now. The twin who was there is telling stories that are inconsistent. He says one thing in one interview, then he tells a different story with a different little detail in another interview. It seems as if they had a conversation and they were all like, oh, there's more details that we don't know that if comes out is going to make Austin look worse than what he already is. So let's tone this down because the more we hype this up, the bigger this story is, the more people start looking into it and find out that Austin wasn't right. It's a reason that we don't know of as of yet, but it is a reason why the family had this crazy angry mob mentality initially, and now there are pacifists who are talking about forgiveness now. It's a reason for that. It is a reason for that.
Can I say that? Because they know what their child done. Let's be clear. They know they kid and they know that their son was not completely innocent. And that is why you're going to see them continuously double down. They know exactly what the hell they raised. They know exactly what
Hello,
he did.
Afro. Thank you for
Just like
having
we
me here
know,
live.
they know.
Yeah.
Hold on, you have to mute Aubrey.
But yeah, let's get
1985 was speaking.
and for
Okay,
some
mute
people are
Aubrey.
like grief can change you. I'm gonna say this one quick 30 seconds. Grief can change the way a person sees a situation. However, it's telling when the twin who was there is telling different versions of the story. He went on the first local news and said one thing, then he went on Fox News and said something different. His story and the police report is inconsistent with the twin story. So something is not adding up. He is not telling the truth. So I think the family knows that, and that's why they're trying to ease back. They're hitting the brakes subtly on the situation.
They trying to get in
If
front
you
of
get
it.
it.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me here live. I've been hearing everybody's opinion. I respect everybody's opinion. This is an unfortunate case. You do have two teenagers. I'm a mother of two. Yes, well, one is in a football team, and they could get kind of rowdy when they get excited or they're on the field. Unfortunately, we have to be realistic. I see it almost every day now. I am a nurse in California for 20 years. I be in the ER, and I do see, kids being jumped, they go to the ER, kids being stabbed, they go to the ER. So my thing is, on my behalf, my family's from El Salvador. We're Salvadorians. And I've been living in a black neighborhood, born and raised, love my neighbors and everything. But these times are very different. We have to, as a mom, also sit down and teach our kids that regardless if somebody touches you, of course, protect yourself, fight, hands on, fight like a man, but do not carry weapons in school. Carmelo, like you said, it could be, self-defense, but when the prosecutor or, the whoever is going to be, in court or the case keeps going, I'm sorry, because I had, it's unfortunate. There's one life that is not there to defend himself, and I had a situation where my coworker, and I'm gonna say it, was very respectful. She's a black lady, worked with her for many times, and I was in my station. I only asked her for the chair, and for some reason, she was very aggressive, verbally, and at work. And I'm like, so that means I could do something to her because she was aggressive to me or intimidated
She's
to
not here
me.
to
I
defend
feel there's no
herself, ma'am.
justification for,
Okay,
So
let's
we
let's
don't know
let's
how
go
you
with your
were
situation. Hold
acting.
on, let's go with your situation.
yeah.
Did your coworker put her hands on you? Did the coworker put her hands on you?
No, but her tone of
But no,
voice
like, because we're
did.
not. It's not just the fact that
No, I know.
Austin was aggressive. Let's put the situation in its proper perspective. Austin was
Correct.
more than just aggressive. It's not like Austin yelled at him or cursed at him or called
Mhm.
him a rude name.
Yeah.
It's not that. Austin put his hands on him. He was told, he was warned to not do that. And then
Yeah.
Austin further put his hands on him, and then he tried to physically move him. That is not.
Correct. But like I said, I have two boys. One is in high school. Boys are boys. But at the end of the day, you do not have the right to stab somebody or carry a knife in school.
Well,
At
here's
the
the
end of
thing.
the
Here's the thing.
day, at
When
the end
you
of the day,
At the end of the day, no,
sorry, but
you do have, let's be honest. There are situations where you do have the right to stab somebody.
so your
It's not a
son or
blanket
somebody
thing.
carries
No,
have
it
to take
is. It is.
a
It's a
knife to
situation.
school? No.
No,
No.
here's the thing. If we're in the school, you don't have, Austin does not have the right to physically put his hands
Yeah.
on it. And everybody who gets on Carmelo keeps skipping over what Austin did to start the situation.
Mhm.
Austin started it.
Correct. But like I said, it's boys are boys in high school. How many kids don't fight in school? Okay. How many, but they don't take a knife to school?
If your child has
My son is magnet. My
One
son is
moment,
magnet.
one moment, one moment, one
Well, I would like
moment.
to
Okay.
finish. I would like to finish.
No, no. Because I want to
Well,
know why you started off where I was born and raised and lived in a black neighborhood, love them. But I worked with a
it's not a
black
race thing.
woman.
It's not a
Well,
race thing,
you
ma'am.
made it about race when you mentioned black.
I just wanted to be
So now
honest. I
I
live in
need you
California.
to reflect on the type of person you are. Because you're kind of sloppy
No,
and using
no,
Indeed.
race
I'm not gonna
when it's
go there because,
not
like I
about
said,
race.
like
that's
I said,
exactly
I'm a
what you
nurse in
did.
California. I see it every day in the ER. It's sad, but there's one kid that will not be in
Okay.
court to
And he
justify
should have thought
himself.
about that
Yeah.
before
And
he
And
put
that
his
black lady
He
is
hands
should have
a
on
kept
gift
his
from
her.
the
hands to
High Side,
himself.
ma'am.
Yeah.
As
But when the
unfortunate as the
prosecutor or the
entire
jury,
situation is,
yeah, sorry.
the thing is that Austin started a fight with somebody who was not bothering anybody. someone who was not doing anything wrong. And Austin did not have, first off, Austin didn't have the right to even ask him or demand for
Well,
him,
correct. Yeah, I give
nor
you that.
does Austin have the right to try to physically pick him up and move him.
Well,
He
I
does
want
not
so
have the
Nope.
right to do that.
sorry. The reason I brought
No, he
up,
did not.
I was I'm a nurse in ED because I see it all the time. That's why I brought it up. Boys being jumped or being injured. I see the parents, but my thing is, as a parent, we got to sit down and talk with our kids. This is look. This is our different times. This is very scary, especially with this administration. They're both teenagers. I mean, Carmelo, you're right. You could defend yourself, but I do not give Carmelo the right or for him to have a how the prosecutor's going to see it or how even the jury's going to see it. Why did you carry that knife in school
The
if you're a
brother had a
magnet
knife
kid?
as well.
And now
The
here's
That's
brother
the only
had
He
thing
a
I wanted
knife.
to
probably was
bring
doing
up.
something with
here's the
Swagger, and
thing.
you don't know that.
We don't know. And we'll
Hmm.
get into that. We don't
Yeah.
know.
If I
But
may,
Well, I
I
did
Afro,
not
will
vote it for
also add,
Trump. I voted for Kamala.
let's add this. They were not
What they got to
actually
do with it?
in the building. They're
Someone
not
someone
in
mentioned in the
school.
comments. Sorry.
They're not in school at the time.
I
Okay.
mean, even though in any field or
if
any
yes,
property of a
if I may,
school
Afro,
or a track.
I once lived in Frisco, Texas. I went to Centennial High School. I'm 34 now. So when you
Okay.
say they're not in the building, with all due respect, that's a petty argument. They're on school
Yeah,
grounds. Frisco,
that's true.
Texas doesn't play that. Y'all are trying to skip over in a passive way why that brother had a knife on school grounds, and y'all try to say, well, because don't nobody know, you can't definitively call it self-defense in any capacity. If you say out your mouth, I don't know why he had the knife, I think two things are right. I agree with y'all, he was being bullied. I do. I agree
Oh,
with you that they were bullying the mess out of that boy. And what it did was it inspired him to bring the knife to school. I don't believe that Mello set out to take a life that day, but I do believe he set out to instigate a situation. Something happened and he took that boy's life. This has
yeah.
nothing to do with race. Listening to
Okay.
so many
Okay. Let's.
black men say,
Here's.
oh, the white narrative this, the white
No.
narrative that
Okay.
is
I'm gonna
so
let you finish. I'm
immature.
gonna let you
When
finish. I'm gonna
Please,
let you
please
finish.
let me.
Go
So
ahead. Go ahead.
when the white father says this has nothing to do with race, and then black people, we want to have our cake and eat it too. He gave us what we were supposed to hear, but now we want to say, oh, well, now they trying to change the narrative because the sister was right. They do know their son. The father does know his son is a bully, and he doesn't want it to be about race. Period. He don't want no smoke. Period. Y'all
Yeah.
are making it about race. This is simply about two teenagers. One was bullying the other, and he inspired the other one to make a decision.
That's what
Point
I brought up
blank,
as
Okay,
period.
period.
Indeed.
stop. Because what we are not going to do, first off, there is no confirmation. And according to his twin, they didn't know each other. So unless we know for a fact that they did, and there's a popular narrative that there was previous interactions between these two men, or one was getting bullied, one was the bully. According to the twin, they did not know each other. And this was their very first interaction with each other.
You're
If
gonna
the
use the words
narrative,
of the person that y'all
be
just
quiet,
collectively
dude.
said was.
Be
Sir,
quiet.
he let
Be
you
quiet.
go.
I
Let him
let you
go
go.
now.
According to what the twin said, they didn't know each other. He said that multiple times. They didn't. All right. So the narrative is that Carmelo came there with the knife, almost ready for them. That also a part of the situation that a lot of people are skipping over. These twins were not participating in the track meet. They were not supposed to be there. It's not like it was their practice. All right. So if that's the argument, none of them were supposed to be there. All right. Carmelo was sitting by himself, not doing anything. The whole fact that he tried to
Exactly.
instigate an argument, according to his twin brother, who was right there, they instigated the argument. They instigated the argument verbally, and then he further instigated the argument physically. And then, even according to the twin, he was told to keep his hands off of Carmelo, and he continued to do so. So, Carmelo has to literally have mind control powers in order to make Austin start a fight. Austin started the fight. He did. The twin admitted that he did. The parents know that he did. That's why the parents are
Okay.
hitting the brakes on the situation, because he started the fight. The police know he did. That's why when the police put out the statements that they got from the witnesses, They said he started the fight. The brother said he started the fight. The parents know he started the fight. Everybody knows he started the fight. So how in the hell did Karmelo make Austin start a fight with him by sitting there and minding his business in a tent that Austin doesn't own?
May I
That
answer?
part.
Go,
Exactly.
go ahead.
That
Answer.
Okay,
part.
I
My
apologize up
thing
front. I
is,
didn't mean to cut you off earlier. I apologize. So to answer your question, everything when I hear what y'all are saying, I'm not in disagreement with it. All of it sounds extraordinarily convenient. These two young men did have a rapport with each other.
How do you
There
know
is
that?
a
Can
history.
you prove that? Okay,
There's a
if they
history.
have a rapport, you also have, because we have no proof, and I've been looking all night and all day for proof that there was any previous interaction with each other, and all of the stories were inconsistent. There is no substantial hard evidence that these two knew each other, and if they everybody got to meet everybody
Oh, okay.
and if they did, it still doesn't change the fact. If they did, it would actually justify Carmelo fearing Austin. If they had an interaction with each other, Carmelo would be justified in his fear of Austin. So
But
either
okay.
way, Austin loses that.
So, but does it not unjustify your point then when you say when they rolled up on him, what made him all of a sudden fear for his life? I've been in physical altercations before with several other people, and my initial thought process was not that my life is in danger. I'm not
But
disputing y'all
it's
saying that he can't
okay.
feel
It
the way
is
that he. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay.
but
It's
that's
life
you.
or, according to the penal codes, is life or serious bodily harm. That's it. And if you are by yourself and you have other people, you have this much larger male and his much larger twin brother right next to you physically assaulting you, then that is a reasonable fear for your safety.
That's fair.
You have a reasonable fear for your
That's
safety.
fair.
Exactly. And then again, people keep trying to say, like the cupcake lady at the top, which is diabolical to me. You cannot dictate how I am going to defend myself. If you come at me, and that is the crazy thing, people don't know what other people have on their mind the day that that person decided that who knows if that boy did try to tell somebody? Who knows if Carmelo did go and say, hey, this is what's going on? Because a lot of white tea folks got a way of just wanting to, oh, you're a big guy. Or they naturally assume that black people are just so tough. You shouldn't have to be worried or scared to protect yourself. Nobody knows what was on Carmelo's mind for him to decide to take such actions the way that he did. One thing we know about our black children, and I said it earlier, our children are don't just instantly go and do anything, especially in this climate, knowing the consequences, that knowing what could happen to us, and that the law is never on our side. So how do y'all know this? This boy was completely, and it's been proven, it's been said. That's why the parents are trying to get in front of it. They know exactly who they raised, they know exactly what's going on, and of course they don't want this to be no political thing, because they know how we can get when it's one of our own. That's why they blocking the GoFundMe. That's why
Yeah,
they're
they
trying
are.
to stop this young man from trying to get the assistance that he needs, because underneath it all, they know exactly what's going on. A lot of these YT folks down here in the comments talking about, oh, y'all like to play victim. Everybody want to be, oh, it's a race thing. I'm going to say it again. Talk to your founding fathers. Go dig them up and talk to them and ask them why they decided to do, because this is what they have been doing for eons. Okay. So if my child comes home, and I tell my boys, I am a mother of two boys, and I tell my children, as long as you didn't start it and you followed the procedure by going and telling somebody and reporting it, then whatever the hell happens after that, that's on them, and they got to deal with me after that.
May I say
Yeah,
this?
yeah, and I also
Well,
Shonan,
I
one
wanted to
moment,
respond
Ray. One
to
one
Renee.
moment, Cupcake and Ray. So Shonan, you jumped up here and then you went to blaming us and saying that we made it about race. But I can tell you, my algorithm on Twitter is the YT people. So blame your algorithm. Don't blame us. It could be a fair, equal amount of people making it about race from both sides. But I heard they were dragging the father for saying it wasn't about a race.
Yes. Yep.
So please don't go wagging the finger at us just because you see us
Can,
making some statements. Guaranteed on the other side, they're making some similar statements and then to suit their narrative. Okay, please.
May I
Okay.
respond?
Can I
can
speak
I
on
say
this
one
now?
thing? Can I say one
Everybody
thing?
can respond. Everybody can
Thank you,
respond.
Andre.
Can I say
Oh,
one
okay,
thing real
man.
quick?
Look, I'm out here.
Everybody
I'm
can't
out
do that.
here in
Okay.
Texas. Look, dude, you can't. They can't turn around and just. We're not even finna play the race card on this. That man. That happened decades ago. That's our grandparents' argument. Now, what we can do is right, wrong is wrong. We in the age, man. You need to learn to keep your hand to yourself. I'm out here in Texas. I went to the school in the DFW area. We was doing the same thing when we was younger. So we ain't finna just sit there and act like we were saints. We were carrying stuff in school that we wasn't supposed to. You don't know what school that boy went to where any situation can happen. He done probably been jumped before. He probably got beat up before. Ain't nobody finna go through that every day. You never know. So when he see two people come up with him, his first thing is alert. You can't get mad at him for that, man. Now what you can't get mad at is a parenting, because you shouldn't even turn around and have your child shouldn't have to go around with a vendetta of trying to bully people, man. You got
Not
people that
only
turn
that,
around and actually do that stuff.
not
You
only
can't,
that,
man. I'm not. You
Mhm.
said what?
Yeah, not only that, we also have to admit in both scenarios, if they didn't know each other, Austin is still in the wrong. And if they did know each other,
Yeah,
that would make
yeah,
Austin
right.
still in the
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, he's in the wrong because if he wouldn't have touched them, it wouldn't have never escalated. You're not supposed to go there. You're supposed to be in the event having fun with your comrades, your schoolmates, and all that. No, you went there with some. You want to smoke with somebody, and I guarantee you, one of them kids got that on camera. That's why they ain't making it a big deal on the news about it, because they already know he's in the wrong. Because I guarantee you, they can pull up camera footage for anything and anybody's phone. Because I guarantee you, it's recorded on somebody's phone what happened. We're not finna turn around and be like, oh man, the white man. No, we're not doing that, man. Because we in an open carry state, which not just a gun, there's weapons too. But these kids been doing this for the longest. Black been doing, it been black on black crime for the longest. If you look on the news, you got another black young male killing another young black male every day.
Can't
That don't
say
make the news.
can't say the K word.
That don't
Can't
make
say
the
the
news
K
at
word.
all.
Drop truth, y'all.
Oh my
Thank
bad.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that don't make the news. But I tell you this though, man, this was gonna make the news. And right now they got somebody, which he made a mistake. That's one thing I can say. But you can't, like I said, at the same time, you can't get mad at. He defended himself how he felt like he needed to defend it. After you warn somebody, dude, that's a wrap. If you feel like you still want that smoke after somebody gave you that warning, then turn around. You got to live with the consequences. Just so happy that he's not here to breathe no more about the consequences.
Yep.
Them parents know what type of kids they raised. They knew what type of kids they brought up. They knew he was a bully. You can't sit there and tell me you don't know your child.
Can I say
So
something, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Ray go
what?
because we gotta. There's a lot of people want to come up, and I want everybody to get a chance to speak.
I'll go ahead and drop, brother. I appreciate you for
So,
having me.
so I won't respond to Cupcake. Okay, so Cupcake, what school did you? Did you go to a public school? Like, did you go to a public school in the hood or something like that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so here's what I
I
want you to do, right? I
graduated
need you
with
to. Okay,
honors.
okay, but here's the thing, right? Okay, I never asked if you were graduate with honors. I don't care if you're
Okay,
valedictorian.
because you're saying what
Here's
school
what I
I
want you
went.
to
Okay.
understand, right? Because
Uh-huh.
I went to a public school too.
Okay.
Okay, and I remember when I was in high school. I think I was like in 10th grade. One of
Mhm.
my classmates got in trouble because he was in a street fight across the school, and he carried a very long blade with him, and he was
Mhm.
Hispanic. He was Puerto Rican.
Mhm.
Okay, now I don't know why he was carrying that blade. That's his business. But I think the reason why he carried that blade with him, because we live in Philly, okay?
Mhm.
Also known as Philadelphia, okay? So the reason why he probably carried that blade with him was to protect him and his peoples. So we need to stop playing dumb. These kids that go to these schools are probably getting bullied, are probably getting jumped, or probably have like turf wars,
That's
people
what I
from
said. I seen
neighborhoods
it. That's what I
and
said. I
stuff
seen
like
it.
that. You need to stop playing. We live in the world. We live in a real world, mama.
I did say
Okay,
that. I said these
everybody does
times are
not.
different.
Everybody, hold on, mama. Hold on,
Mhm.
mama. Everybody did not grow up in the suburbs. In a white picket fence in a freaking bungalow. This is the real world.
Sweetie,
Okay, trust
I
me.
was raised in South Central. I went to UCLA, graduated, done my
Okay.
way
See,
up.
see,
But
I
look,
understand.
okay,
See,
Ray, but my thing is, okay, this case is, I said it, it's unfortunate. You have two teenagers, you know, one is gone, and Carmelo, it's, under, I mean, he's arrest, right? Jonah Hall, whatever. Are they going to treat him like an adult? I don't know. But the
they
thing is,
gonna
the
try his ass
jury,
as an adult. They
but look,
are.
the jury, that's what I'm saying. Like, what the prosecutor's going to say is, one kid's not here. They're gonna look at the grades because that's gonna have a big effect too. I hope Carmelo is a straight A student,
He
or
is.
for his
He
defense.
is.
Okay,
He
Is.
graduated with a
Oh,
4.0
okay,
goodness.
student. He's a
okay.
4.0
So
student.
that's what I'm saying. It's the prosecutor, like I said, the family's gonna be there. One kid's not there. It's sad. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I have two boys. They go to public schools. They see fights every day. But I said, go tell the teacher, go tell somebody, speak up.
But
Don't get
here's the thing: what
involved.
you need to understand, right? When your life is threatened, you can't dictate or decide how a person defends himself. Listen, I'm
You're
20. I'm about
right.
to be 30
You're
years.
right.
Hold on. Listen, I'm 20. I'm about to be 30 years old. Listen, I'm not as young as I used to be. I got arthritis in both my knees. So if I'm getting like picked on by a dude that's like way larger than me, bro, I'm not fighting fair. Okay, I'm using mace. I'm using a knife. I'm using a blade. I'm gonna slit your fucking
Wow.
throat. I don't give a fuck. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm
Thank
not in the
you.
mood.
Language,
Yeah.
language,
See,
language.
anger management, anger
Language.
I don't.
management.
It's, no,
You
it's not.
gotta be the better
It's not
person
anger
sometimes,
management.
Ray.
It's not anger management.
But Ray, you gotta be the better person and walk
No.
away.
If my life
If,
is
if if
threatened,
if you
if
want to
my
talk
life
about
is
anger
threatened,
management, the
there is no
person in
such
this
thing as a fair
situation,
fight, mama.
hold on, the
This is
person
the
in the
real world.
situation who
This is
needs
the
to be
real world.
coached on anger management would have been Austin and his
Thank
twin.
What are you
you.
Okay,
talking
but
about
Thank
look,
anger
you.
management? If my
if
life
Thank
is
you.
Carmelo, look, this
threatened,
is what I'm
I
saying.
am
They're
a
gonna
Right.
son.
say,
I am a brother.
Ray,
I
what
am a
kind
soon
of
to be
fucking
father.
pussy carries base?
I am a family man. If my life is
man.
threatened, there is no such thing as a fair fight. I'm
Well,
trying to make it back home to my family.
mhm.
Enough with the
Yeah, you
bullshit.
Ray,
gotta be
what
a
I'm
pussy to
saying
carry
is,
base.
Enough with the bullshit. This is not
yeah.
Disney World.
Well, I prefer carry maze and not be
I
locked
do
up,
carry mace,
but not take somebody's
but sometimes
life.
mace is not going to work.
But look,
Again,
it'll
you
help.
cannot dictate
No,
the
yeah, you're right. 98, you're
situation. No,
right.
no, no,
You're
no,
right.
no. Because you keep saying this over and
Goggins,
over
shut your
again,
ass up,
and I
Goggins.
don't think you're getting it.
Afro,
Right.
No,
Don't
Afro,
you
pay
I
Afro.
do
attention
can't
to the
get it.
comments. Don't
dictate
pay
I
attention
think
to the
I
comments,
do
guys.
get
what
it.
a
I
We're
think
getting the
person
Carmelo,
does.
conversation.
You
I would like to
can't do
respond
that, and
to,
you keep trying
Everybody
to
Wow.
do
stop.
that.
Everybody
Man,
stop.
please.
Cupcake, I'm gonna let you get your last words out, and then we're gonna have to continue with the thing.
We
So
live in
you
America,
feel
bro.
like
thank you so much. At the end, like I said, I'm sorry. It's unfortunate. You have two beautiful boys there, but one is gone. The prosecutor don't play either, especially in Texas. Y'all got the strongest laws in Texas. I'm in California. Like I said,
And also,
Carmelo,
Texas is
if
a
he was
stand your
a
ground
man, if he
law.
was a good
everybody,
boy,
everybody let
I
her
know.
go.
Okay.
You know, if Carmelo, this is how I see it. If Carmelo really is that innocent boy that you guys are defending, why are you carrying a knife in your backpack?
Does okay?
For
Is carrying a knife
protection.
make you not innocent? You're not innocent if you carry.
No,
Bro,
Why did the brother have a knife as well?
Hold on. If does carrying a knife? I'm asking Cupcake.
mhm.
Does it make you guilty? Are you not an innocent person if you carry a knife with you?
You're not guilty, but then it's like you're like a problem person. I feel like
That's
You're a
not true. Not
I
in
gotta
Texas.
defend
is
myself
you're
from
a hold
who?
on.
hold
So
on.
you're a problem person.
If I'm
You're a
carrying a
problem
weapon with
person
me at all
if
times,
you
why would I
carry a
want to carry
knife
a
with you.
weapon with me at all times?
For
Makes no
self
sense.
So if you
defense.
carry a weapon, hold on. If you carry a weapon at all, you're a problem. You cause problems if you carry a weapon with
Look,
you.
I know Texas. You guys love
No,
your
no, no,
gun.
no,
Love,
no.
okay.
Now you're trying to change it.
No, no,
If
no,
you
no, no.
carry, I'm asking a very simple
Okay.
question. If you carry a
Mhm.
weapon with you, that makes you that makes you not innocent, and that makes you a problem person, right?
No, 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 no. I don't know
That
if
is what you
I'm like,
said.
I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm trying to explain myself good. I mean, like I said, I'm saying how the prosecutor's gonna see it, how
No, that's
the
what you said.
jury.
No, that's not. That's what you
Mm-mm.
said. You
No, well,
believe.
yeah.
Yo,
Well, look,
cupcake,
like I said,
cupcake,
I
cupcake,
have two
cupcake,
boys. My boy's
cupcake,
14. If he
cupcake.
was a trouble child,
No, stop
trust
it.
me, he will be carrying something in his backpack. But he's
How
not.
does a person that has who's a straight A student, will just wake up one day
Okay.
and decide to carry a weapon. What you're
Mm.
saying is the most asinine shit I've ever
Well,
heard in my
here's the
life.
thing. Here's
At
the
the
thing. We're
end,
gonna cupcake. We're gonna
I want to
and
say, I want to, can I
Thank
say this
you.
one
I
last
don't
thing?
know. I don't know if I can respond. Look, hey,
Can I
much
say
respect.
this
Like
one
I said,
last
I
thing?
respect everybody. This is an unfortunate case. There's two young kids. One of them is gone. That's what the jury's gonna see. The prosecutor. I mean, the guy's not there to defend himself. I'm sorry.
You
Listen,
only
We
care
could be on
about one
TikTok
of them.
fighting with each other, but at the end of the day, is what the court's gonna say.
That's
He's in
fine, man.
Texas.
We get
the
it.
court
okay,
is
we get it.
We
also
get
hold
it.
on. The court is also going to say that Austin. Now you're talking about what the prosecutor is going to say. There's more
The
than one
defense, yeah, of
person in
course,
the
of course.
courtroom. The
And I will
defense
also,
is going
Yeah,
to
but
say.
one of them is gone. I'm sorry. One of them
Yes,
is
the
6 foot
defense
under.
is going to
Yeah,
say.
no.
You know what? I'm gonna get your ass out of here.
Bye.
yeah, but also,
Can
Okay.
I
I,
say
I, I,
The
I
something?
would like to
defense.
Can I
say
Y'all
say
be
this.
quiet. Y'all
Afro?
be quiet. The defense is going to say Austin, according to all, is not like no hearsay. It is official. Everybody knows Austin was the one who approached Karmelo, and Austin was the one who put his hands on Karmelo. That is what because the prosecutor is going to say that the prosecutor is going to say the prosecutor is
Exactly.
going to say yeah, but the defense is going to have a stronger argument. We know what the prosecutor is going to say. The defense's argument is going to be stronger because according to everybody, including the twin, Austin put his hands on Carmelo. Carmelo told him not to. It's not like he poked him, he stabbed him the second he did it. He told him don't do it again, and then Austin got more aggressive.
and Afro, can I just say, if anybody may end up helping Carmelo's case, it's gonna be the brother. And period, because of what the brother said out of his own mouth. If that's why they trying to get in front of it. He told pretty much what has happened, and that is what people are missing.
True.
Even if he does end up doing whatever time, the brother just admitted to everybody that they went and they started messing with the young man
Yes,
first.
the
And let's
brother
be
confessed
clear,
that.
that
Yes.
cupcake lady, she is so fraud. Her black neighbors need to watch her. Let me
Yeah.
just be clear, because she already made up in his mind that he's guilty. There's a lot of
Can I say
people
one thing?
all over this
And I'm gonna go.
country who carries weapons to protect themselves for whatever reason. And like she said, especially for the climate that we are in right now. She already said he's guilty. I hope her black neighbors is on here listening, because and the fact that she is a nurse, she's in the wrong field dealing with people with that type of mentality.
And also,
Can I
when I
say?
was in
Can I
high
say one
school,
thing?
and
Can I say one thing?
all
You
right, go
see,
ahead, bro.
like if Carmelo was unalive by those Austin, right? Cupcake would still feel like put to protect Austin. I'm dead ass. She would
Yeah, we
still
know.
feel that way
Yep.
because she don't see Carmelo as human. I'm telling you, and you could hear it for her undertone, how she talking. Oh, who? No, get out of here. We see your fakeness.
Exactly,
Come on.
because when she said, "Listen, anybody that's carrying a knife, carrying a weapon, you must be up to no good trouble." Bro, when I was in high school, the dude that got arrested in my school for carrying a very long blade, bro, he was actually a good student. He didn't have like straight A's, but he was like an A, and he was getting A's and B's. Like he was a very nerdy, like very attentive dude, always answering questions, always doing his homework and collaborating with other people. He was a good student, but at the same time, like he grew up in Northeast Philly.
Yo, let me tell you one
It's a
reason.
tough neighborhood, so you have to
Let me
carry a
tell you.
weapon in
Let me
order to
tell you.
protect yourself because his friend was getting jumped across the street. So he did what he had to do to protect his friend, and the cops came and arrested his ass. And now, no, the story. What I have to say, bro?
Yo,
Like, come
let me
on.
tell you one reason
Okay,
why I
one moment,
carry
y'all.
every day. Why I carry every day.
One
I was
moment, y'all.
Go
So
ahead.
we have 14 people in the box, Afro.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna.
we might
Yeah,
want to kind of shorten the times for the panelists
I'm gonna
and
go. Let me
rotate
say
them out.
one thing.
yeah,
Let me
that's
say
true.
one thing.
You're
I'm gonna
right.
go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go too. I'm gonna drop.
Yeah, like
Thank you,
the
Brave.
only
Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
reason I start carrying, right? I went because I'm a trucker. I went in delivery somewhere. I think it was Arkansas, and I went to delivery some sundown town, and I got caught up. And two guys came up to me, and they approached me in a way, like I'm smart. I'm street smart, so I know they up to something. So next minute, I see three guys coming in the truck. I'm like, hell no, I'm not gonna be out here. You know what I'm saying? And then one girl, she parked her car right in front of my truck, like they trying to block me in. And that was like 3 years ago. I'm thinking about all type of hanging, all type. I'm in the South, deep South, and
You
my
gotta
girl
say
was like,
strange fruit and strange fruit.
yeah, like So I'm like, man, I can't get caught sleeping like that no more. So I carry to protect myself because you never know what's gonna happen, especially the area you in, Texas. You got the law. Use it to protect yourself. Because guess what? If you came into a situation, if you don't protect yourself, it's always gonna be you. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
protect yourself. And I'm out.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Not only to mention the fact that there are other situations you don't know. Carmelo might always, if I know a lot of people, if they take Ubers and things like that, or if they do a lot of walking by themselves, they tend to carry something on them. So he might be somebody who he got to take Ubers, or he got to walk long distances. He has to be by himself in dangerous areas. You might not know why. I mean, people do this all the time. We're not going to sit up here and act like everybody's like pulling their hair out of their heads like a knife. I can't believe it. We're not going to act like this is not a normal thing. We're not going to act like that's not a normal thing, especially in Texas. It's easier to find somebody who doesn't, or it's harder to find somebody who doesn't have a knife than does have a knife in Texas, of all places. So there's a lot of speculation that he bought the knife there to attack somebody, and clearly he didn't if he was minding his business. But with that being said, we're going to continue allowing everybody to get a chance to speak. So we're going to get to Starboy. Starboy.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me up. I think it's an unfortunate case, like because both families lost a son. Um, Even though Carmelo's still alive, he's not with his family, so it's unfortunate on both sides. But when I look at this case, I wonder like who had Carmelo's back because there have been reports on like there was a forum on Facebook with the students that were talking about the situation, and they were saying how that day, uh, some of those boys' the twins' friends, had made a social media post saying, "Make sure we clear all the monkeys off the field. We don't want any monkeys on our field today for the track meet." And so it was a lot of racial stuff being said prior to that event. From what I'm seeing on social media from the students that go to that school, a lot of racism online. So it's been said that like a lot of students had went to go talk to the guidance counselors and things like that about what was happening online, and nothing was ever done about it. So in that case, if you speak to the school, it might not have been Carmelo personally, but if you speak to the school and nothing's done about it, then isn't that emboldening the twins? Like, isn't that emboldening other students to kind of like carry on with this type of mentality? So who's protecting the students like Carmelo who feel like, like the lady said earlier, oh, boys will be boys. That doesn't apply to black boys. That phrase boys will be boys, that only applies to white boys, because anytime a black boy does something that a white boy does, is looked at in a completely different light. But social media, it's a lot of racism on social media. A lot of, people are like spending 24 hours a day trying to trigger black people. You can't have any safe, happy space to go to. There's always some type of racism, alternate ideology. But yeah, so I just want to know who was protecting Carmelo at his school. Why were the students acting like bouncers and physically touching him and trying to remove him? Who gave them that authority? Who gave Anthony, whatever his name was, that authority to physically remove Carmelo from where he was at? And then somebody had said like he was aggressive. Well, if somebody's trying to tell me I don't belong somewhere, I'm going to probably check them as well. Like that's just a natural instinct. I don't think that's aggressiveness. You're going to be like, who are you talking to? That's a natural instinct. But this case kind of reminds me of the Kendrick Johnson situation, because Kendrick Johnson was getting harassed by a white boy at his school for a very long time. He actually physically assaulted Kendrick Johnson, and he told the school everything like that. And the white boys, their father was a DA or something like that, like a police officer. Nothing was ever done about it. And Kendrick Johnson ended
Yeah.
up losing his life, and his body was found in a gym mat. And justice still hasn't been served. There's still no answers for what happened to him. So maybe if Kendrick Johnson had a poker that day, he might still be here. But You know, I'm just saying, like, you know, who is protecting Carmelo in this situation? Why is there so much authority being placed on the twin brothers that, you know, nothing that they're done is wrong? And the same people I feel like who've been harassing, you know, black people online are now clutching their pearls like, oh God, no, he's guilty. And you guys sit up online all day long just like harassing black people, making racial jokes. Your whole point is to trigger people. And so when a person is finally triggered and they snap and they do something, why are you so shocked about it?
Yep. Yeah. I hear you.
You'll never hear them with the outrage. I brought up Kendrick Johnson earlier, and you will never hear them talk about things that matter. When it's us versus them, like with what Kendrick did, them white boys is still walking free. And the evidence, the daddy was a police officer, and they went and they
FBI.
scrubbed the FBI, and they went and scrubbed a lot of those videos, and that's why. And then they went and started harassing the mother and all of that stuff. So, like I said, they have selective outrage. They don't care. If this was another white boy who did this to this white boy, they wouldn't. It wouldn't even be all of this,
Yeah,
right?
it wouldn't.
They
They sure
always
wouldn't.
like to say it's black on black, but they don't talk about the white on white crime when they going up there unaliving children, shooting up. I mean, pew pewing churches and things like that. But when it's situations where you have a young black scholar, this boy has a future. He had a future. And then y'all put this young man in a position to defend himself by any means necessary, which is what he did. Y'all come up on these panels, y'all hide behind these computers because at the end of the day, they are the true cowards. They go, that's why they got the gun laws that they do. They sitting on these panels talking about, oh, he couldn't really throw hands. Well, no, we seen what happened at y'all with y'all behinds during the Alabama brawl. Y'all couldn't throw hands. And when we get ready to come together, we definitely come together and stand for our own. They gonna always cut for theirs, right, wrong, and indifferent. They will always cape for theirs. They don't know accountability. They wasn't born to take accountability. And that is why we are taking our power back. So if old dude did what he did to end up where he is right now, which is in the county morgue, then talk to your children if you don't want that to continue to happen.
You know what? Can I just say this one?
Yeah,
I'm
go
glad.
ahead. Say
I'm
that one
glad.
last thing, then we'll get to Mark.
Yes, sir. I'm glad Carmelo didn't take the traditional route and he didn't take an automatic weapon to his school and unalive innocent people like their children do when they and they fold under the pressure. They go and unalive innocents and take out entire classrooms because they crack under the pressure. But my question would be for America, if black people don't defend themselves when y'all are sitting up here online 24/7 preaching hate, making threats, who will defend us? If we don't defend ourselves, who will defend us? Because I'll say this: it's not all white people, but I'll be very clear. I do not feel safe around certain white people with certain ideologies, and I'm gonna leave that there. And the way that I feel right now, I have armed myself for protection. I didn't grow up in a home that had guns. My mom was against it. She did not want any weapons in her house. She moved us out of the hood to the suburbs and gave us a better life. She did not want any weapons in her house. But today I have to have a weapon because I don't feel safe around you people. And when it comes down to it, if it comes down to a situation where there's some type of white T man getting in my face aggressively, and I say, please leave me alone, step back, and you don't, what happens after that? Listen, there's an equal and opposite reaction for every action that you take. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And that's up to you to make that choice if you want to figure out what that reaction is going to be.
Appreciate you. Yeah, that's true. He was warned. He was warned not to do that, and he continued to do it. Mark, we got you. Oh, you got it.
So, good evening. Thank you for having me. I just think that we have a lack of facts, right? Honestly, today I was looking up things, trying to figure out information. I'm going to the website when there's a lack of transparency as to what's going on with the case. They're saying that they're still investigating it, but some of these TikTok detectives are figuring out things way quicker than the actual detectives can. So I don't know how much detective they're actually detecting they're actually doing. I'm really very, very iffy about a lot of these little backwoods towns, and a lot of the investigations as they, lack transparency, lack fairness, lack equity. As far as the case with Carmelo and this individual, sad guy who lost his life, I just found out about it today through TikTok, right? But I did find out through a lot of different articles and different things, just where my point is further proven that there's a lack of information, and there's honestly a lot of like lies, and there's so many disputes as to what is fact and what is false. And even like the point about the other twin brother and how his statement has changed from the several interviews he's done so far. I mean, we just lack the information that we truly need to be able to figure out what's going on with this case. I truly hope something is figured out, but I don't want to count out the self defense, Carmelo self defense claim, right? Because I can see him possibly being able to prevail with a self defense claim. But this is also the state of Texas, so he's 17. I already did the research about like him being charged with capital murder. I mean, this is sad. Like he could be facing, the death penalty. So I don't know. We're gonna see, but I don't trust this town. So I land my plane though.
Appreciate that. We're gonna have to cycle you out because we're gonna have to cycle a couple people out because there's still a bunch of people who haven't spoken yet and been waiting. Now with that being said,
I'm gonna go ahead and drop because I said my piece. I appreciate you bringing me up.
Appreciate you.
And I just want to say one thing. When the Palm people say things like, well, we'll see what the courts have to say, we'll wait on the judicial system, they know that the system is racist. So when they say that, they are saying that to a point where they want the guy to be basically guilty, and they feel like based on the judicial system and how it normally operates, or putting black people in prison, they want that to happen. So when they say things like that, that's what they're counting on. Just when they say, I'm going to call the police and you're not really doing anything, they know how racist 12 is. And so when they say that, I feel like it's just a racist undertone to that, because they know how the judicial system operates and it normally favors them.
I'm gonna say this. Were you done?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say this. I think I don't know if it was Mark or Starboard. How you got people on TikTok who are pulling up more information at a quicker rate, or at least saying more information than what the police are saying. The police are are kind of slow walking this situation. They're dragging their feet with releasing any information about this situation. And you got people on the internet who are able to pull this stuff up. This is what I theorize. Because of social media, TikTok, and all of this stuff, people are able to find things out way faster and then get it out to the public way faster. So unless they're able to take a long time and scrub all their social media, scrub all the videos that would make them look bad, they're going to get caught. So this is why, more than likely, the Austin family, his parents, his mom, his dad, they said one thing with their first interview, and then they have to think, is there any video at all of Austin doing something racist? Is there any post at all of Austin doing something racist that would put a racist stain on his character? Oh yeah, we did get caught doing that one time. There is this video of that one thing, and they can't rely on the police to create a narrative for them if social media is already looking into it. That's why they're trying to hit the brakes on the situation. They don't want the situation to be any bigger than what it already is. Unfortunately for them, the situation is already too viral. They can't ease it back now. The situation is already on all over YouTube, all over Twitter, all over TikTok. It's too big for them to do anything about it now. But like I said earlier, there is a reason why they were on 10. Everybody was on 10. The twin brother, the mother, and the father were on 10. And now all of a sudden, in a matter of days, everybody's talking about forgiveness and the love of Christ. No. They know something that the public does not know that would make was Austin drunk? Was Austin on drugs at the time? Like, why does he feel the need to, why was he so aggressive?
And
Afro.
the twin messed
In
up the
his
D
case by
Ruggs.
saying
they
that
said
D Ruggs, Afro.
the
Okay, yeah.
brother
D
got
Ruggs.
Was he not sober at the
they
time? I
said
would say
that they
that.
found drugs
Thank
in
you.
his system when they did the autopsy
Yeah,
report.
I've heard some people say that, and that completely
Hmm.
changes this situation. So that's why they want to, like, oh, if they're like, oh yeah, well, mom, dad, I'm sorry, we were doing ba da 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 before. I'm not saying they were or weren't. Oh, well, we're out here on the news now, and if we make this situation big, that means a whole bunch of people are going to look into it. We don't know that, but it is suspicious that everybody in the family is starting to change their tune. It's very suspicious that everybody in the family, in like a matter of it's not like a month later, it's a matter of a couple of days, everybody's
because they
changing
know that
their
the
tune.
twin
Can I
brother
say
messed
something,
up by
please?
saying that the brother touched him and grabbed his book bag and touched him. So they know that the brother is talking too much because what he's saying is messing up their case. So that's probably why they switched sides. They probably got an attorney. Attorney was like, don't do no more interviews. Don't say anything else because it's really hurting their case.
I feel like we should just mourn this kid's death.
I'm sorry,
Well,
you
let's
have to use
mourn Tamir
TikTok
Rice's
friend. One
death.
moment, one
Let's
moment,
mourn
beloved.
Sandra Bland's
You
death.
have to use TikTok friendly language. You have to say unalive, deletion, terminated, words like that, just to protect the live.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Now, you just think we should mourn it, but yeah, we can mourn the passing of this person. However, somebody is in prison and he has been arrested for a crime. And when you look at the situation, he is not guilty of the crime he has been arrested for.
I agree.
Okay, well, everybody has two sides to a story, so I think I'm just gonna get out of here.
You okay? All right. Well, sure. Let's get to Tiff. Tiff, you got it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in Texas. When I was 17, I did the same exact crime because I had two girls jump on me. And
Hmm.
I did the same thing to one of the girls 3 times. I didn't unalive her, but I was arrested and put in jail. And I faced the consequences because they didn't have a weapon, and I did. That's the law in Texas.
So you
And I'm,
served time?
huh?
So you did time?
Yep. Well, I did probation, but yes, I went to jail. And I'm,
Probation.
Okay.
Okay.
Where did you
Can I
go?
say something?
No, hold on. What Tiff? Where'd you go?
She probably got a call, but
I'm right
I
here. I'm
like
right
to
here. I'm
say the
right here. Can
answer
you hear
because it's
me?
stopping them
Okay.
from
Yeah.
lying.
Yeah. Okay. So
What?
yeah, you bought a weapon because some girls jumped you. Okay.
I didn't even buy it. Somebody handed it to me. I didn't carry it with me on purpose. Nothing like that. I was in the back seat of a car. I had a friend in the front seat, and I had two girls come and jump on me over a guy that we were with, going back and forth with when I was 17. And they kind of trying to, they were jumping on me, actually physically beating me. And I didn't even try to, use my weapon at first because I was trying to get out the situation. And
Mm.
I waited and I waited and I waited, trying to fight them off, but it wasn't working. So I did what I had to do, and they backed off, saved me from being beat, and I claimed self defense. I told the officers, and it was self defense. But guess who got in trouble? Not them. I did.
Okay. And can you make that relevant to this situation? How's that relevant to this?
He's going to be in trouble because he had a weapon and the other guys didn't. That's the reason I went.
Okay. Well, here's the
Okay.
thing. If let's say he gets in trouble for bringing the knife to the school. How we're talking about not if he's innocent or guilty for bringing a knife to the school. We're talking about the actual physical incident that wound up taking the life of Austin. We're
That's
talking
what I'm
about that
saying.
being
Do you?
self-defense. This is what we're talking about. Not if he was right or wrong for breaking school policy and bringing something he shouldn't have bought. Okay?
I didn't say what he should or shouldn't have brought.
Okay, do
It's
you
the
think,
fact that,
let me ask you, do you feel like, because you felt like in your situation, it was self-defense, right?
yep, I was actually being beat the heck out of.
It was self-defense in your situation. Is it not
Yep.
also self-defense in Carmelo's situation?
Nope, he wasn't being beat the heck out of.
So, okay, in what level of assault can, now let me ask you this. Was
Mhm.
Austin, yes or no, was Austin assaulting Carmelo?
No,
No,
grabbing
no.
him
Okay,
is
so
not
let me ask
justified
you,
in
hold on,
it's not
no,
justified
I
in
gotta ask
Texas
you a follow-up.
court. You're not
Be
getting it.
quiet, ma'am, shut your ass up. Okay? Yes or no? Because by definition, I'm asking you, what is the definition of assault? What would define assault at all? Period. Just assault. If you said somebody assaulted somebody else, define that. Go ahead, Tiff. You can unmute yourself. And that Tiff, you can either unmute yourself or you can get your ass on. Okay.
Oh, please let me talk.
No, you're gonna have to wait. I'm gonna because there's some other people who haven't spoken yet. So we're gonna
Right,
get to.
right. There's an order.
I want to say, look. I muted her. I allowed her because she was cutting me off. You don't cut the host off. Then I said she can go. She didn't unmute because she said that Austin was not assaulting Carmelo. And then I said, "What is assault?" She can't answer that because he was assaulting Carmelo. He was, and we all know that. Brown, let me see. Brown Sugar Bay, you got it.
Hi, thank you for letting me come up. I've been sitting, I've been listening, and I've been watching this whole incident escalate. And I keep hearing and seeing a lot of YT people get on it, and they don't address the issue that Camilla, what's his name? Carmelo, that he
Mm-hmm.
was assaulted. The only thing that they want to do is jump in and say, he killed it, or he unalived him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unalived him. And, they don't want to address everything else, but he's going to jail. He's a, you know, uh, you know, I don't know the TikTok language for it, but they want to see him go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is this, okay? Everything in our society, in this country, is built on racism. And everything that deals with black people, whether they, you know, when whatever system it is, whether it be school, whether it be court, that is always going to be an issue for us because we are always dealing with the racism of everything beforehand. He definitely was assaulted. Camilla was definitely assaulted. And the thing that I saw most, even when you deal with the media, is the spin that, hey, we're gonna put these twins and their family on the media first, let them, air everything out, therefore making Carmelo look like he is the one that is guilty. And that's always the issue for us. They're always making us look like we are the problem as a community. And that's not always the case. And then when you say something, then they want to jump in on the media or jump in the comments saying, "Oh, so I can't believe you support this and you do this and you do that." But they're bullies. They're bullies, and what has happened recently is a lot of emboldening of these bullies. And I, being a mother of black children and a black male, I'm concerned because I see all of these instances occurring, and we're going to have to start dealing with these things as a country. And it's a repetitious situation, it's ongoing. So it's a foundation, and we have to start cracking down those foundations. In order to do that, we're going to have to start standing together as a people
Mm-hmm.
to address the concerns of our community.
Appreciate you. Thank you for that. We'll
After
get
you
to
had
it.
me dying, bro. You
You said
checked
what?
me real quick.
I didn't even hear what you said. Gifted, you got it.
Thank you for letting me up. I just want to say, I just don't like how, like the lady before said, it's given that it's okay for bullies to be bullies, and okay, now it's giving us parents that we have to tell our children like, this could possibly happen to you if you stand up for yourself, and it's scary and that's not fair. And it's like, okay, do you think it's okay for these YT boys to just to come up to this boy and tell him what to do? No. Go get a coach. Go get an adult. You are not an adult in this situation. These are your peers. Like, I don't like it. It's hitting home for me. It's sad. And it's just crazy how the family's kind of switching up their words too. At first, y'all talking about don't make it a race thing, but then your son is out here switching up his words and stuff like that. It's not right.
Mm-hmm. What happened in these situations, and I'm sure we're all adults here, and we know we've seen cases. What happened is that when people lie, people have a hard time remembering the lie. Okay, so when you tell a lie one time, and especially if it is a traumatic experience, you tell a lie one time, it can be difficult for you to remember the exact sequence of the lie you told because the event never happened. So when the twin brother Hunter, when he went on the news, more than likely he lied, which is why the second time he was on the news he told a different story that did not add up to what the first story was, because more than likely he lied and he can't really remember what he said in the beginning. So that's why there's certain things in one interview and there's other things in another interview, because he was never telling the truth, not the whole truth at least. Not the whole truth, at least, because if he was telling the truth, every single interview would be the exact same. Yet every interview is not the exact same. Why is it not the exact same? Either he's lying then or he's lying now, because otherwise it would be the same story every time, and it's not. And because it's not the same story, the parents and probably the attorney as well too are probably asking, and they probably know more details about, was there, let's put it out here, was there previous interactions? Because initially the twins said they didn't know him. Now, if the courts find out that the twin lied and that they did know each other, and that Austin had a history of bullying kids, and particularly Karmelo, that's going to make the whole thing, that's going to change the whole dynamic of the situation. If they find out that these two kids actually knew each other, if they find out that Austin has a history, because they're going to bring other students up, other children, if they find out that Austin has a history of physically assaulting people, that's going to play a very big part in this situation. If they find out that Austin has a history of, I don't know, if he has a history of bullying people, picking on people, if he has a history of racism, if he has a history of terrorizing or assaulting black students, all of that stuff is going to play a huge factor on Carmelo's side. So that's why, more than likely, when they started talking to each other, they are like, damn, when the truth comes out, we're not going to look so good. So let's pretend to be the family of Jesus Christ and forgive everything to prevent this situation from being a political situation. We don't want politicians speaking on this. We don't want celebrities speaking on this. We don't want this to be a nationwide thing, because Anthony is not in the right. Anthony is it, or Austin. Sorry, Austin is not in the right.
And Afro, I just want to say I totally agree with you on that, because you can clearly tell that this is something that this child, this white boy, is used to doing. And I'm sure that there are several other people who are going to be able to come out and say that that's exactly what he is. Yes, once again, his family is going to try to get in front of it, his attorneys and all of that, because again, they know who the hell they raised. They know his history. So I don't think this is the first time that this dude has done this. I believe that's why karma came and set in and put a stop to it, because he's done this too many times. So he's just as guilty. Um, and he would still be here had he would have went on about his business.
I agree.
Hmm.
I also think that there was a lot of wordplay being used in the media. If you look at everything they addressed, as you stated earlier, they wanted to bring out with God loving, and it's not racist, and everything that they said it that they brought out into the media. Those are the things that you should be paying attention to, because those probably more than likely had something to do with it. The buzzwords like used by the twin. Oh, he was aggressive. See, that's wordplay, trying to make it seem like Carmelo was like doing something, but what it really probably was he wasn't adhering to what they wanted him to respond with, and so that was their way of addressing how he was responding to them. And so there's so many factors dealing with this case. It's not even funny.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now let's
Afro, did you
continue.
hear that there was like an earlier altercation between the two men, something about a girlfriend and
Hmm.
Austin sort of harassing her? Yeah, has that been confirmed? Like,
From
any
what
way to
I and
confirm it?
I've looked into it, from what I know, that has not been confirmed. It has not been confirmed that these two had any previous interaction with each other, or that their girlfriend was a factor in this situation at all. That none of them knew each other or their girlfriends or whatever the case is. That has not been confirmed. I've heard a lot of people allege that there was a party like a couple days before or a week before, and they got into it at the party before, and they do have history. I've heard of that, but that's not been confirmed. And according to the twin, they did not know each other. According to the twin, they didn't know each other. So I'm going off of what is been established as of right now. Now there are rumors, and we do have to kind of put that in a different scenario. That it actually would make, let's be honest, it would make more sense that they do have issues with each other, or they did have issues or a run-in with each other before. Because let's ask this question: why was Carmelo, why was his presence so bothering to the twins? It wasn't an issue for nobody else. Nobody else had an issue with Carmelo in the tent except the twins. Don't you think that's odd? It why was Carmelo, who was not bothering anybody, he wasn't doing anything to anybody. His brother admitted that Carmelo was by himself, not saying anything to anybody or doing anything. Yet they were so bothered, they were ready to physically move him out the tent. That's a little excessive for somebody that you have never seen before, somebody you've never known, their presence being in a tent that technically is not your tent because you are not a part of the track meet, a tent to the school that you go to, you want to physically start throwing them out the tent. It seems kind of odd unless they actually did have history. And
Yeah.
we'll find
There's a
And
picture
one when
floating
I
around.
watched the interview about like one thing I had to like to add with what you say is true, because when the brother was talking on Fox interview, guess what he said? Like they already accusing him of stealing something. They was like, oh, we didn't know if he's there for stealing or so. They trying to come up with all different type of scenario to make him feel like he's a bad guy. But and anybody else didn't see him as a thief except you guys. So what's the issue? Like I think they hiding something,
And
but
that is how you know that they're trying to get in front of it, because this
exactly.
boy has no record. And
And
that is another thing
that's
that is going to,
beneficial.
my uncle is a retired judge, sweetheart. And that is another thing that is going to help Carmelo's case. That is why they are trying to find any little thing that they can to incriminate or show that he has a history, because they don't want the YT boy to be by himself. The white boy has more of a history than Carmelo does, and that is why they trying to take their time and go through it with a fine tooth comb, so they can, because they're used to that narrative,
Hmm.
or spinning that narrative on our people. And
That's
that
it.
is what has them in a tizzy. That is what got their head spinning. That's what's going to keep their asses up at night. That's what's going to keep their foots on their necks, because they have nothing on Carmelo. That white boy got more stuff going on than they want to, and they're going to try to do everything they can. And I pray to God that Carmelo has a damn good attorney that
And
will
that's
be
what I was
able
about to
to,
say.
a
You
whole
guys,
dream team. Since they want to bring up OJ, I hope he got a whole dream team that will be able to come in and debunk everything that this boy, because what they do is they take these white boys, just like with Kendrick Johnson. Those boys had a history of doing stuff too, and then they try to get in front of it, or try to minimize it so it doesn't affect how they want them to look to the media.
hmm, and another thing, they're trying to find something that stick. But nowadays, the media, like the media, don't have no power like it used to. Like, cause we control the media, we control our own media. We talking right now. Like Afro, you got your platform, keep it up, and donate to him, and donate to the Carmelo defense, so we could protect him, so he could get a good lawyer, and and keep him strong. Keep it in your prayers, and that's it. Because the thing is, they trying to find something that stick. Is not, because the lie's gonna, when he get a lawyer, the lawyer gonna be like, damn, they giving us all type of scenario now. You know what I'm saying? Because we smart. Like, look, we got the third ears. Like, every time they come on this live, they make up stuff to try to find Carmelo guilt. How the hell you gonna tell us, oh, you got beat up? And come on, bro. These people, man, they crazy.
That's true. We gotta let other people speak so we
Do
can
your thing.
get more people in there. But appreciate
I
you.
have a
That's
question. I'm sorry, I have one more question. So I'm reading the chat and they're asking about a video saying that teens would have a video. Does anybody know if they were even allowed to have their cameras on the track? Like, you know what I'm saying? Some places be like, do not bring your cell phone because that could be problematic too. So I'm wondering why there isn't any video as well.
to be honest, yeah, that's true. I mean, I've heard that, and that's the thing. It's a lot of people saying stuff. I've heard there was somebody who has a video, and there is a video out there. And to be very honest with you, I believe that there's a video out there, and I believe the video paints Carmelo as innocent. The video shows Carmelo being innocent. Okay, I believe the video shows that, and this is one of the reasons why the parents and the family have switched up their story. They're trying to find something that they can stick to, because the video, when if the video does come out, and more than likely there is some video or some type of like security cam or something to that effect, that the police, because in this type of situation, the police would seize that as evidence, so it wouldn't go to social media first. The police probably has that, and if the police have that, they would show the families first. They wouldn't allow it to be leaked to the public until later on. Now when he actually goes to trial, then the video gets to the public, unless somebody leaks it out first. But that's how that would go in those situations. But more than
Okay.
likely, there probably is some type of video evidence.